Hello and welcome to our special program Campus Debate. Today we will go ahead and have a discussion on an issue which has grabbed everyone's attention in the recent times, the menace of corruption. Is corruption a recent phenomena? And what are the reasons behind this particular problem? Also, we will go ahead and try to find out the ways to tackle this problem. And for this, we have with us a group of young students from St. Joseph College in Bengaluru. So, let us begin by the basic question. All of us know what corruption is. But then, interestingly, there are several ways of indulging in corruption apart from giving bribes. How many of you think that all of us as citizens and members of this society are equally responsible for this? Okay, great. Too many hands going up. Yes, let me start from here. Yes.
I think every one of us in either way, directly or indirectly, are related, because you look at we traveling in bus, a bus conductor not giving us a ticket is in a way corruption. So, or look at we traveling in a bike, and if a police inspector demands us money as a fine, I think it's we who are equally responsible with the policeman giving him a fine.
So these are the basic ways of going ahead and indulging in corruption. Yes, anyone else? Okay, let me hold on. Yeah.
In the misuse of office by the public official, whether in terms of time or in terms of their work or in terms of their output or the targets which they are needed to be achieved. In this way also we can assess corruption.
Okay. Yes. Okay, let me go up.
Like the famous saying goes, rogues thrive where fools prevail. So as citizens we have to be responsible. We are pretty much responsible for corruption, because politicians know that they can do anything and get away with it. Why do we let them get away with it? I think even we have to be careful, and even we have small responsibilities that we have to take. Instead of paying the fine, we pay bribe and get away with it. These are very small things that we can do and put an end to it. The reason corruption exists is because we let it exist.
We let it exist. The reason it exists is because we let it exist. But interesting answers out here, starting from the case of an individual citizen going ahead and paying bribe, to my friend out there who mentioned the political class as well. And in the recent past, we've seen and we've heard many cases of corruption coming to the fore with respect to the political class, with respect to the bureaucratic class. And as my friends have already pointed out, that it does exist in the civil society as well. It does exist in our society as well. But is this a recent phenomena? Is this only a recent phenomena? We have only heard about it recently. Yes, please.
I think it's like it was always there, but now it has increased to such an extent that it has like reached an alarming rate. It's because it can be accounted because of rise in population as well. There is so much of competition. Like the rise of population has led to rise in competition as well. So this has led to increase in corruption as well, I feel.
Okay.
We get to know about more cases of corruption, basically because of the Right to Information Act. That's a significant contributor to that fact of getting to know more cases of corruption. But it has, of course, always existed, and it has become a sort of a way of life for us.
It has always existed. It has become a sort of way of life. Is that, you guys agree with that? It has become a way of life?
There's a whole philosophical side to corruption. People tend to ignore the philosophy of corruption, that it begins in the mind. So I think corruption is as old as man's existence itself.
As old as man's existence, yes.
I think corruption comes with growth, and we have this tendency of this blame game within corruption. And I feel that we just target at the government level, and it just shouldn't be that. Corruption is sometimes arises out of ignorance of civil society.
Ignorance of civil society, yes. Very interesting. Yeah, let me go there again.
I think corruption is associated with convenience. As long as we are able to get our job done, we don't really care how low or how dirty we play, just so that we can get it done. I think we're always in a hurry. We just want things quickly. We don't want to wait in queues. We don't want to wait in queues to, disembark from a bus or to, get to make a payment. We just want something really, really quick. So we're always like willing to push and, we just want convenience basically.
Convenience. Yes, yes.
What she says is true, but not entirely. It cannot be blamed on the civil part because if you look at the procedures, governmental procedures that's going around in India, it's very, very complicated, and to get one thing done, you need like months or more than that. So like, for example, if you have to do something important, registrations, you involve a lot of like governmental people. So in there, like nobody will have the option not to bribe.
Okay, it's a complicated process, and to make that complicated process easy, we resort to giving bribes. Is that that's what my friend out there is saying? Also, several fingers being pointed at the entire system and the way it functions. Yes, please.
I say that it's all because of man's greediness and his discontent, and because of these qualities that man indulges in corruption and in these kind of acts.
It's as old as mankind, someone said. Growth is one of the reasons, my friend said. And then, we want to, we're in too much of a hurry. We want to go ahead and get our works done fast. Some of these factors indicate towards the youth as well. We as a youth want to get things quickly, We are part of the growth. We want to go ahead and grow. We are also part of this society. Do you think that the youth have a very important role to play in fighting the menace of corruption? Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. Well, as you mentioned, sir, like in the next 30 years, the youth of India is always going to be a sizable amount, a proportion of the population. So we need to create this awareness, need to create this kind of the will among the youth to tackle this, not take it sitting down, to stand up and fight for their own rights. And so the youth is always going to be a factor.
Okay, the youth is always going to be a factor. Yes, please.
Sir, I think before we target the youth, we should target at the ground level first. When we are like small boy, then it has to be trained there first, instead of like going directly to the youth. When we say youth, like we know what is right and wrong, and then only then like implementing this kind of like how corruption is bad, good, this, that, at the time of youth. I think this is
okay. You mean to say that it has to be ingrained in the social structure? Yes.
The whole question of corruption, before, as we say that corruption was in existence, we're not that, but the major question would be that maybe too many scams are coming in these days. People are awakening that, okay, we are corrupted and society is corrupted. It's just the case of, a Delhi rape case where women, they were raped. It was not that it was all of a new incident which took place, but thing which it comes to heights and which comes to certain levels that we can't, really tolerate, maybe that becomes a issue or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Does youth have a role to play in combating corruption? Yes. And in my opinion, in the sense of creating awareness in various corruption scams coming out, especially youth through the tool of social media can create awareness in that sense of combating corruption.
Through the tool of social media, yes, there was a hand out there. I'll come to you, my friend.
When you talk about the youth, actually, I strongly believe that actually the youth is a much stronger force to deal with corruption rather than a lokpal. Because, why I say this? Because I think the future, the youth are, modern Indian youth are far more progressive, and the problem is that we youth do not take up responsibility for governance. And if we do take up more responsibility and, first part, take part in elections, and also, go and elect and participate in the elections, I think
so have to play an important role. Play an important role. Yes, please.
I believe the youth has to play an important role. It plays an important role in today's generation. What we can do is elect a candidate we can know better candidate, and it will help in the progress of the nation. election of a better candidate is a must. Like,
Okay, that is one of the solutions. We will go ahead and talk about solutions as well as we will also go into the details of the actual reasons behind this menace going out of control. But one thing which we all agree on in this first part of the program is that it is not a recent phenomena, and youth will have to go ahead and play an important role. Let's take a short break out here, and when we come back we'll continue the discussion. Welcome back. We're having a very interesting debate out here in St. Joseph College in Bangalore on the issue of corruption, and this group of young students at least agree on this point that it is not a recent phenomenon. But a very interesting question is why we are known as a very corrupt society. All of us might have gone through the different studies which have been made, different indexes on which India has been rated. Why? Why us only? Yes?
So the question comes in my mind is that how do we define corruption? How do we rate a country a most corrupt country? Recently it happens when United States of America mentioned that China is the most corrupt country in the world. Jackie Chan, he came out and said it's United States. Is it because we are not agreeing to what the big nations
allegations and counter allegations? That's what you mean to say? Yes.
Yeah, needs and desires of the people are increasing. Things which were luxury before now have become the basic needs. So that can be one of the criteria for why corruption is, it's increasing.
Is that what it is? It's because of the luxury?
I think that it's the indifference attitude of the people in the society that gives it's an add-on factor to corruption.
Indifferent attitude, yes.
Another one reason for the corruption is probably there is no respect for rule of law. Our Constitution of India has clearly defined what is corruption and what is not, and what should be punished, and what are the rules and regulations to be followed. But we tend to believe that we can get away with it. Though rules and regulations are there, Constitution has been prescribed everything, but we have a tendency or belief that we can get away out of it, or we can come out of it even if I get caught.
Okay, so basically the idea is that response is coming out, and one very interesting response is we are indifferent as a society, we are indifferent as citizens. Is that what it is? Are we indifferent? Are we really indifferent to it? Yes.
In Indian society, it's very easy to play the blame game. If I have done it, if she has done it, I can as well do it. It's not indifference, but the blame game. If she can do it, I can also do it and get away with it.
Not indifference, but the blame game, or rather taking inspiration from each other, saying if she can do it, then I can also go ahead and get away with it.
So I think why corruption has grown in India is because people stopped questioning. So just because the work is done very faster when you bribe someone. And another thing is we just go on protest saying that this is corruption is happening and things like that, but we don't really ask where is the corruption money, where is it going. For example, the scams which happened and whatever the government has confiscated.
Okay, one second. You're supporting the idea that we are a little indifferent to what is happening, indifferent to where the money is gone.
To say the fact, today's politicians play power politics. Instead of that, they have to play development politics, so that the corruption will not be there in the society.
Power politics, the politics of grabbing power with one sole intention. Is that what it is?
I think that we're trapped in two worlds. On one hand, we want to cling on to our tradition and our culture, and on the other side, we want to brace development, and we follow the demonstrative effect of Western countries. And I think that creates a sort of restlessness in us, and it's not really indifference, it's just that the need to press forward at the same time hold on to something. So it's a whole lot of factors that come together, that agglomerate together, which make us indulge in corrupt behavior.
It's not indifference, it's because we are in transformation stage.
It's not just indifference also, there's a sense of security that all of us have, that there is somebody else out there who will back me up. There's always the question of you don't know who I am. So that is, I guess, another factor that leads to corruption.
The attitude, you don't know who I am, or whom do am I related to? Yes, please.
In a very simple level, I think it's the size of the country, because the India is a vast country, and it's everything works under one government. So it's very difficult to handle and check the system itself. So like, yeah, if it was some other country, smaller country like Korea, then like it's easier to handle, but still there are high rates of corruption. But for example, in India, like it's difficult to have a check system.
It's difficult to have the checks and balances. Yes, please.
There is no fear of law in this country, and it's the politicians and the oligarchy that is allowing corruption to prevail in our country.
No fear of law, okay.
I think it's a lack of accountability in the country. Like you don't really know what's happening, what's happening. No one's accountable to anyone, and I think this is a problem because you can do anything and get away with it. We don't know what's really happening.
You can do anything. The feeling that you can do anything and get away with it. Yes, we have some hands down here. Let me take some views. Yes, please.
I think it's not an indifference, but people knows the laws, the rules, but they make a compromise with the situation because they want to let their work done easily.
Compromising on the situation. Yes.
According to me, corruption is a slow poison that will destroy the country very soon, and growing selfishness among us is one reason, I would say, for corruption.
It's a slow poison, and the reason behind that slow poison troubling us is selfishness. Many views, selfishness, no fear of law.
Yeah, I would like to mention all the other views which were expressed. They hold true, but one of the most important factors must be the amount of bureaucratic hurdles that we have to go through for any simple process, like for example having a driver's license. The increasing amount of middlemen, that's one of the major issues.
Okay, the amount of bureaucratic hurdles, yes.
We all know that India is a developing nation, and even corruption is increasing day by day, and we should not only blame the government officials and all, we should blame public also in the hand of corruption.
Okay, the onus lies on us as well. As the citizens of this country, the onus lies on us as well. Very interesting answers coming in. Few of you agree with the fact that we are indifferent to the situation. Few of you have different explanations. Yes, please.
As we all know, like we are a developing country, we are trying to reach to the development level. So the thing is, like, many people who have come into power are from lower status. So within a short time on having power, they do not know how to use it.
Okay.
So they
not knowing how to go ahead and make use of the power the people who are in power have. There's several various reasons which have come into play out here. We will continue this particular discussion, and in the next segment of our program we will talk about the most important point of this debate. That's how to go ahead and find a solution with this young group of students. Till then, let's take a short break. Very interesting discussion on the issue of corruption, and we have spoken about the reasons behind us being known as or being called as a corrupt society, or one of the most corrupt societies. But the big question now is, what is the solution to this? All of you, including me as well, all of us are going to be the future of this nation. You guys will go ahead and move out of the college, get into some or the other sort of service or business, contribute to the society. What is your idea of fighting this particular menace? Okay, let me start from here.
I think we have to change ourselves first, because when we talk about corruption, we only blame on the politicians or the public officials who are corrupted. But we ourselves, we as citizens, we are willing to pay the bribe to them. That's how corruption is getting worse and worse day by day. So I think we have to change ourselves first.
We have to change ourselves. We have to change our attitude. Yes.
I think that people, we should look at the grassroots level. From the grassroots level itself, the people should brought up with the moral values. So
look at the grassroots level, ingrain the quality of fighting corruption since the childhood. Yes.
I think there should be more stricter laws instead of newer ones, and everyone should be aware of what laws are there to end corruption.
The laws have to be stricter. Is that what it is? Laws have to be a little more stricter. Is that what you think?
Oh, not for the laws, but for the other question.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I do agree with him that the laws must be more stringent and strict.
Okay. Laws should be more stringent. Is that what you think?
I don't think so. Who made the law? Like, law can't do anything. Now we have a good law. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has already clarified that during his time, saying that Indian Constitution, there is nothing wrong in Indian Constitution. The way how we execute is what
We follow the laws. That's what it is. Yes. Let me come to you.
I think it can be generally agreed that there is no one fixed ready-made solution to corruption. What I would like to say is the existing laws and procedures must be strengthened instead of introducing new laws and new anti-corruption bodies.
Okay. The existing laws should be strengthened. Yes.
I think the Lokpal and the Lokayukta are very useful weapons, but we need to understand how to utilize it in the right way.
How to utilize in the right way means the existing laws are actually good, but we will have to implement them properly.
I think, yeah, as you said, the existing laws like the RTI, it's unparalleled, and I think that's the best tool we have. But the problem we have is the lack of awareness of how do we get access to these laws, because how many of us actually know how do we file an RTI? Because that's the most important thing.
Very interesting question. Okay, let me just come to this. How many of us out here know that how to file an RTI application? Well, you're right. I agree to your point. Only 20% of us sitting out here know how to actually file an RTI application. That's ignorance. Yes? Yes, please.
I think we should first start socializing our children from the family itself about how corruption is bad. So I think this is one of the solutions we can start
Okay,
with.
once again, ensuring that the teaching begins at the basic stage. Yes.
Not only about the problem of corruption. When you look at any social problem, what's our civic attitude is blooming on a public sphere, but we never look at a private sphere, as my friends also already have mentioned about that. First, we got the example of all those India against corruption marches, the whole bunch of marches going and light up the candle. I don't know how many of them know how the system works, and my friend also correctly pointed out how to file all those RTI, Right to Information Acts. I think, as my friend suggested, we have to change ourselves. We have to first light up the candle.
Knowing how the system works, we will have to first light the candle in our own house.
I think that we've associated corruption to be connected to power and money without realizing that the power is actually within us. So it requires a shift of our ideologies, and this shift has to be more constructive than just more educated, initiated.
Okay, power is within us only, yes?
The government has to be more transparent in all its dealings. Unless we see the government setting an example, I don't think we'd follow any of the rules.
More than blaming just the government, we should actually start introspecting ourselves and stop playing the blame game
Start introspecting ourselves as to how should we go ahead and deal with these problems. Yes, please.
One of the solutions can also be creating more awareness among people, and also on the other hand, those people who are guilty of the corruption and those who are proved, they must be punished. And instead, what is happening today, even after they are being guilty, they are roaming free. And also those on the other hand who are doing good, who are helping the system in a better, they must be awarded and they must be rewarded.
Guilty should be punished to go ahead and set up an example. Sorry. Yes.
I might like to highlight two important points. The first important point is, I think as a country, India is very diverse. So I think there is very important need for us to come into a universal ethical conclusion and have a universal ethical code which defines what morality is and what ethics is. And secondly, we all know that corporate sector and the political class are two main important parts of the corruption. And I think you have many political parties getting huge amount of funds from corporate companies. I think if we have cautious notice on these things as to from where are the political parties getting huge amounts of funds, and if we can actually make political parties neutral from the corporate companies, it might be a good...
Okay, making those in power responsible. That's what seems to be the idea, yes?
It's also the speeding up of the judicial process, and that's one of the key things. That's actually the lag of judicial lag, and that's why these corruption cases are actually not being solved. And the old saying, justice delayed is justice denied. And
strengthening the judiciary. But then one very interesting point which came in the middle was that the existing laws are sufficient. The existing laws can go ahead and tackle the problems. We do not need to go ahead and have a new law every day. What we need is to go ahead and ensure that we follow the existing laws, and if necessary make some changes. Is that what it is? Do you agree? No, I don't think my friend out there agrees. Yes.
The
Punishments of the existing law should be made stronger. The laws are there, they're strong enough, but the punishment, the consequences of not following the law are not strong enough. So they should be made strong enough so that the people fear that if the laws are broken, the consequences are severe.
So a little more need to be done. Yes?
I feel that children who are going to be the leaders tomorrow should be nurtured first. Like they should be more, they should be made aware of fundamental rights, fundamental duties of our country. I think if children are made aware of fundamental duties and rights, there's no question of corruption tomorrow, because they'll be aware to do what to do and what not to do for the welfare of the country.
Awareness, spreading awareness, yes?
We must have more independent institutions like the Lokayukta throughout uniformly across all states, because such institutions are not answerable to any government, so they will take stringent action.
We should have more independent institutions. Yes, there was a hand. Yeah, please.
The laws to protect the whistleblowers must be introduced and implemented.
Laws to protect the whistleblower should be made strong. Yes, that's one of the important points. I had a hand out here. Let me first go to her. Yes.
Okay, to put it like in a very simple way with a common example, I think we spend more time trying to figure out how to cheat on a test and just study for it. In a simple way, I think we try to spend more time trying to figure out the loopholes within existing law than to just obey it.
Okay, very interesting example.
I don't think spreading awareness will help, because that's a very easy method, but corruption is so rampant in our country, and we've become so immune to it, that spreading awareness is not going to help.
Okay, so divergent views coming out here. Spreading awareness will help, will not help. The existing laws are strong enough to go ahead and tackle the problem of corruption. Some of my friends out here believe that the existing laws should be made a little more stringent. There are several other measures which have been suggested as well, but then at least one thing which this group of young students from St. Joseph College agrees on is that they as youth will and ensure that strong steps are being taken by at least them to fight against the menace of corruption. We'll come back again next time with a different issue from a different location and with a different group of young people. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.